Hey gang, Jake here. Don't mind me, I'm just pondering how hard trilogies are. I mean, to even produce 3 of pretty much any form of media is a damn feat, with all the production factors and things that can throw you off in that time. Making 3 good things in a row? Incredible. I mean, look at this script. I managed to screw up writing 3 good sentences in a row. Where am I going with this? Great question. Let's talk about Gunvolt. So Gunvolt's been an important franchise in my life for almost as long as it hasn't by this point. It's been nearly 8 years since I played the first game, and ever since then, Inti has been pumping out banger after banger, and even more impressively, also making garbage at the same time. But the crown jewel of this era is definitely Gunvolt 2. This game is one of the best action platformers of the last decade, and it really does an impressive job of not only being a great platformer, but also telling an interesting story. Don't get me wrong, it's not groundbreaking, but it is so great at what it does. The first game created a world that was interesting, for sure, but the sequel made characters that really elevated the series, and in both games set up for an incredible future for the franchise. Then, after 6 years of waiting, we finally got Gunvolt 3, and goddamn, do I wish I had better things to say about it. Gunvolt 3 is an interesting game because I think it's one of those things where the worst part about the product is the title. There's a ton to like about this game, and I want to highlight those factors because they really are great at times, but every single positive thing I have to say comes with some caveat. Let's look at the gameplay, for example. Gunvolt 3 plays fantastically. Kirin is so fluid and fun to control, and her expanding moveset is super satisfying to use. The image pulse gimmick is super entertaining, and it produces one of the most full action platformer movesets ever. But there's a simple issue: Gunvolt. The way Gunvolt gets handled in this game is genuinely sad. You can only play as him by building up meter as Kirin, and when you do, he's so busted he breaks the game to pieces. There's some really good ideas in the mix. The new suplex you get is genuinely badass, but the final product just doesn't satisfy. This problem extends to the story too. It's not really a Gunvolt plotline. We're working with an entirely new cast outside of Gunvolt. Even Lumen isn't the same character from Gunvolt 1, so most of the build-up from GV1 and 2 is just gone. The new characters are honestly pretty solid. The back half of the game has some of my favorite characters in the series, but the actual conflict they're participating in just feels weak. Lastly, there's the presentation. The visuals are great, and a lot of the dub performances are really damn good. There are some things that I don't love. Shiron and Kirin both have some tidbits of dialogue that are incredibly grating, but all in all, Gunvolt 3 looks and sounds great. Now, I know it kinda seems like I didn't like this game, and it is definitely my least favorite in the trilogy, but I really don't know if I'm willing to say it's outright bad. A lot of my gripes with it come down to the fact that I'm so attached to the first 2 games, and that's not everyone's experience. If you haven't played the first 2 or just really don't care about the story, and the gameplay piques your interest, maybe check it out. It's getting free updates until the end of the year that I'm really looking forward to. But if you love these games like I do, and you're looking at this as the conclusion to a trilogy, maybe hold off for a sale or some more info on those updates. That said, this isn't the only trilogy that concluded recently. Literally the day after Gunvolt 3 release, we saw the curtains draw on the mainline Xenoblade trilogy, and let's just say, there's a reason I saved it for discussing after. Xenoblade 3 is such a good-ass game, guys. I don't even know how to go about discussing it. Normally when I talk about a game, I try to cover how I feel about all the broad strokes of its design, and then use that to inform a final conclusion, but here's the only spoiler in this video: this game nails it in just about every category. I genuinely have zero clue what to highlight. Each and every cog in the machine is firing on all cylinders. The side quests are amazing, the music is stellar, the gameplay is a perfected blend of 1 and 2 that's stronger than the sum of its parts. The pacing could probably honestly use some work, but the story is fantastic. I could go on. I honestly don't know what to say. This game is just genuinely a gem and one of the easiest recommendations on the Switch. Although, I will say, Nintendo wants you to think you can play it standalone, but please don't do that. Xenoblade 3 is the best of the series, but in a series that is consistently pumping out bangers, that greatness is even greater with the context of the first 2 games, and there's certain plot beats that you really don't want to be in the dark on. But yeah, this game is great, so go grab it. Thank you all for watching. I'm sorry that this is out so late after the game's released. The original plan was to make a review of Gunvolt 3 and a first impression of Xenoblade 3, but I ended up playing through it so fast that I felt like finishing it and going full review was best. I want to thank E the Weirdo. He drew the Amongst Us's that I used in the thumbnail. He's done a ton of these for me, and he's super cool. I'd recommend giving him a follow. The link to his Twitter will be below. Between these two games, I've sort of got a content roadmap planned out for the rest of the year, and I'm really excited for what's coming later. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Peace out.